Welcome back to the Nullified Take, where I've got the TNT takes for you on the challenge All Stars 3, episodes 1 and 2. I'm back today to talk about who I think the top 5 contenders are after the first 2 episodes. I'm going to do this on a weekly basis, and what I want to do is I want to rank the number 1 and 2 male and female, and I want to throw a wild card in there every week, so we will have 5 power ranking players on the board who I think is playing the best game so far, or who I think is going to go far in this season. So without further ado, let's start with the men, and coming in at number 1 this week for me is going to be Yes, coming back into this season as a reigning champion of All Stars 1. I think that a lot of people would have thought, Yes was a little bit lucky winning that first season when he went out there. He played in a season where there wasn't too much backstabbing and gameplay going on, and he kind of, by default, I think worked his way through until the end, and nobody knew how much of a threat he would be when it got to the end game. They knew he was smart and he could work with math and puzzles and things like that, but I think a lot of people underestimated how good he would be at running and how good his endurance is going into that first final. Now, obviously, coming into this season, people are very well aware of who Yes is. They know that he's going to be a threat if he does make the final, so a lot of people may be shocked that I've got Yes after week 1 in my top 5. Now, there is a reason I'm putting Yes here in my top 5, and when we talk about who I think the other person is in my top 5, you'll get an understanding as to why I'm ranking him this high. But Yes was a big part of this first 2 episodes. He came in second in the first challenge, the first daily, and he came in first in the second daily, so he now also has a sabotage that he can use going into week 3, which I think puts him in the optimal position to sabotage a good player in this game that could be a threat to him and who may be coming for him in someone like Wes Bergman. I think that a lot of people will look at Yes and think, he's a number for us. What he says is what he will do. He's putting it out there that he's not going for big threats in the game. He's happy to run against anyone in the final. So people like Darrell and Jordan are not going to be threatened by him. They're not going to think that he's going to backstab them at some stage in the game. So I think that that may get some of those OG players that are big threats in the game gravitating towards him and wanting to work with him, where with someone like Wes, Wes is going to be strategic about it. He's going to want to cut those people out before we get to the finale, so he's got the best possible option to win this season. So I think, therefore, Yes, being more the force of good and straightforwardness, maybe doesn't make for the most entertaining TV, but we'll talk about Wes in a little bit and how that may change this season. But back to Yes, I think that he's shown here in the first 2 challenges, he's come to play. He's more prepared probably even for this season than what he was for season 1. And I think that he is in a really good position. I really think that Yes, for me, is my number 1 guy at this point. Now, number 2 here for this week is going to be someone that I think is going to work very closely with Yes this season, and that's going to be Jordan. Jordan also formed a part of my top 5 contenders for the season before I even saw any of the episodes, and I think once again we saw Jordan come into this season as someone that a lot of other people are fearing. They don't want to go up against him in a final, but we also get this redemption arc with him and Naya coming into the game, having a conversation saying, hey, we've done some things in the past we're both not proud of, we feel remorseful, and Jordan says he's there to put it right. I think Jordan is coming in to right the wrongs, and I think we might get this redemption arc from him coming into the season, trying to be a better person, and then going all the way and potentially winning the show, and I'm here for it. I think that, we've seen Wes talk about Jordan as a massive threat, how he dominated the last decade of the challenge, how many eliminations he won, how many seasons he won. We've always known he's a great competitor. We've always known that he brings the drama, but I think a lot of people haven't always enjoyed some of the things that he's said in the past, and Jordan knows this. He's coming into the season. He's going to try and right these wrongs. The key thing here with Jordan for me this episode is that he doesn't go in first off when he is eligible to go in and they can vote him in. People like Yes said, no, I'll keep him safe because I don't mind running against him in the final, where I think MJ and both Wes wanted to take that stab at a strong competitor such as Jordan. So I think that as long as Yes is there and Jordan are there together, and if they can find a way to work together, that's going to be a very powerful trio that could win a lot of eliminations, could win a lot of dailies, and can protect each other out there. And I feel like Wes is kind of making enemies out of them, which will automatically force them to work together in this season. And I think that at this point, my money is on both of those two together to be stronger than someone like Wes on his own at this stage. Now, the thing with Jordan is he does get sabotaged in episode 2, and he once again puts on the show. So, you know, even though he's coming into the season remorseful, he's definitely a little bit more toned down from what I can see in the confessionals and things like that. I do think that that competitiveness that Jordan has within him, that is still there. So if Wes pushes the wrong buttons on this guy, he's going to explode and he is going to perform on the day. So he gets sabotaged, but still finds his way into the authority and into power here this episode. The only thing I will say is that maybe both Yes and Jordan here should have taken a stab at Wes when they had the opportunity, especially since Wes already threw the first punch. He put a sabotage on him. Definitely Jordan should know Wes is coming for him this season. Now, let's move on to the ladies of this season. And we're going to start off with number 1. And if you told me before I came on here to record this video and before watching episodes 1 and 2 that this person may be my number 1 coming into this season, I would have told you, what are you smoking? But I do think that Sylvia has surprised me immensely here for the first couple of episodes. I wasn't a big fan of her necessarily. I didn't hate or love her from previous seasons. I know she forms part of the Lavender Ladies, and a lot of the times those Lavender Ladies have been there to help her make decisions. And I think that is still something that I have to tick her down on, that when it comes to her making a decision of who to sabotage, she asks TJ, hey, can Wes go first? And I feel like she needs to own her decisions a little bit more in this game for me to have more respect for her long term. But I do want to give her credit. We're 2 episodes in. The first episode, she goes and wins. She gets the safety. She gets the sabotage that she can use. She's starting to form connections with the younger ladies within the season and the likes of Kayla, Jimmy, and Janae. And I think that that is going to be a big talking point for the rest of the season. I think she's going to have power within that group for a bit longer, and I think that she's shown that she is going to compete this season. So I do want to give her a shout out here as someone who won that first daily. Another thing that we also need to remember with Sylvia is that she is surprisingly good at eliminations. I had a look at her record at eliminations for the main show, and I think she's 5 wins and 1 loss to date. So she's even someone that if they throw her in there, I think she's got a good chance of coming back out of an elimination. So she's impressed me. She's getting a lot of screen time, a lot of confessionals. For some other reason, I think she's going to be a big part of the story this season, and I think she's well insulated. So she is my number 1 girl pick for week 1. So let's go into my number 2 pick for the women after episodes 1 and 2, and it is going to be Janae, the reigning champion coming into this season. I think that I had a lot of doubt on how she was going to be able to deal with the pressure of just having won. I thought a lot of more people were going to go after her right from the start, try and throw her in. She's never seen an elimination. That has to put a massive target on her back, right? But again, I think she's showing politically, again, like I said, with those younger girls, she's got Jemma, she's probably got Kayla, she's got the likes of Sylvia now. I think there is a core that's going to form there, and these women will be pretty potent in this game. And I also think she's got enough connections with those people that she's played in previous seasons that are not necessarily going to come after her immediately. She also wins in the second daily here. I believe she's in the top 3, gets to form part of the authority. So we know that she is going to continue on where she left off, winning dailies, potentially winning the season. I know there's a lot of people, when we did the podcast, that were feeling a little bit low on Janae because she comes into the season a lot more confident than what we've seen her in the past. And she comes in saying that, hey, you know, what am I going to do with this extra $500,000 or the extra money? I'll probably put it in the bank right there where the other money is. And some people took offense to it. But to be honest with you, I'm really enjoying seeing Janae confident for the first time ever since she's played this game, because in previous seasons, I think that she had such a dramatic experience in the main show where people were constantly talking down to her, constantly bullying her or belittling her, that she didn't really believe in herself. And I really feel like All Stars has revitalized her to a degree where she's now coming in as a very badass, strong woman who believes in herself. And I actually think that is something that should be feared, because Janae, not even fully confident in the past, have done extremely well. And we should give respect. She's run 2 finals. She was the first woman equal with Kellyanne in that first season. And I think that she's coming in here again this season, just getting fitter, leaner, better, because she's doing season after season, and she knows what to expect. So I can't have this reigning champion not as a part of my top female picks for this week. It's tough to make these decisions because obviously there's a few other people I could also mention, but that's the top 4 for me, the top 2 guys, the top 2 females. Now let's talk about the wild card for the season and also for these first couple of episodes. The person who's going to come in at 5th place, it can be either a male or a female. I think that if I did one of these and I left this person out, it would have been absolutely a travesty. I'm not talking about Tina. She's great TV entertainment. I don't think she's winning this show. I think they're getting as much out of her as they can early on. But let's talk about a person who does have the entertainment value, but has also got the credentials to do well in eliminations and has also won the show twice, and someone like Wes Bergman. I think Wes has to be in the top 5. The problem for me at the moment is I don't know which way it's going to swing. Will Wes win out against Jordan? And yes, he's got this big storyline. I mean, he's taking one of the most likable guys in the Challenge All-Stars history, or the Challenge as a whole, and he's trying to paint him as this pompous guy. You know, he's full of himself, and I think Wes needs that to want to go out there and beat Yes. He needs to make him the villain in his own mind. I've missed Wes. I've missed him understanding what we as fans love to see. The fact that he's almost like another producer out there generating these storylines and being devious. Him coming in here, people knowing what his game is about. They can't trust him. They don't know what he's going to do. Who will he backstab? He wants to play the sloppiest game. We see him on the treadmill running, thinking about all of those things that people have said about him for the last so many seasons. You know, the ominous music as he comes in. You know, this guy's coming up with a chip on his shoulder. He's just been humiliated in recent seasons, losing against Devin and Bear in eliminations, not really going all the way. And even Bananas, his biggest rival, has recently won a season. So, you know, seeing Wes back this season, he's here for business. He's looking lean. He's looking in shape. A big part of the storyline was revolving around Wes in the early stages. Wes, Yes, Jordan. That's the factions that we're seeing currently play out. Similar to how with the females, it is going to probably be Janae and Tina at this stage from what we're seeing. I think Yes has got the potential to win this show, but I do think he needs to take care of Yes and Jordan early. Not that they care to run against them in the final, but he's throwing sabotages away. It's blown up in his face. But something tells me we're going to get a big game out of Wes this season. I'm really hoping for good entertainment value. Maybe this is a hopeful pick, putting him in my top 5. I'm hoping he stays deep into the game, because the longer he is there, I can guarantee you people are going to enjoy this season and they're going to tune in, because there's going to be no kumbaya. There's going to be no friendship alliances here that are going to just stick together and do boring votes while Wes is there. He doesn't care who he throws in. Like he said, he will say all of the names, which is what I like to see as a fan. That's my top 5 for episodes 1 and 2. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment below. Who did I miss? Who did I disrespect by not putting them in the top 5? It was a tough decision to make. And who do you disagree the most with? As always, guys, it's been fun talking to you, and catch you guys next time when we recap episode 3 of the Challenge All-Stars.